Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, I don't really see what people see? Maybe you don't feel especially attractive. Maybe you look at yourself and see the grey hair, the little lines on your face, the body that has changed over the years, or just somebody who feels normal, nothing special, just you. But here's the funny thing about being attractive. You are probably not the best person to judge your own attractiveness, because you see yourself every single day. You see yourself when you wake up looking like you lost an argument with your pillow. You see yourself when your hair is doing its own business. You see yourself on the good days and the days when you don't even want to answer the door. So you get used to yourself. Other people don't. They experience you differently. They notice things about you that you probably don't even think about. And sometimes attraction has nothing to do with having the perfect face. It can be the way people behave when you're around, the way they talk to you, the things they remember, the way they suddenly become more honest, even the way they act when you leave. That's the part I want to talk about today, because there are some signs of attraction that are so quiet, you can easily miss them. And number 8. That one might make you look at your whole personality differently. So let's talk about it like two people sitting down having a real conversation. No perfect people here, just real life. Number 1. People start copying little things you do. This one is sneaky. You may not notice it at all, but somebody starts using a word you always use. They start drinking their coffee the way you do. They pick up a little expression from you. Maybe you always say, "Take it easy." A few weeks later, they're saying it too. Maybe you have a certain way of telling stories. Now they are doing the same thing. And sometimes you don't even realize it until somebody else points it out. Why do you two talk exactly the same? And you're like, do we? Yes, you may have influenced them without trying. Now, this doesn't automatically mean romantic attraction. People copy people they admire, feel comfortable with, or feel connected to. But here's what makes it interesting. We naturally pay more attention to people who matter to us. And when someone spends enough time around you, little pieces of your personality can rub off on them. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to entertain everybody. You can just be yourself. And somehow, people start carrying little pieces of you with them. That's a beautiful kind of attraction, because they're not just noticing your face. They're noticing you. And honestly, isn't that the better kind? Number 2. People remember your opinion, even when they don't agree with you. This one tells you something. You give somebody your opinion about something. They disagree. No problem. Life continues. Then 3 months later, you're talking again, and they say, "You know what you said about that thing before?" You stop. Wait, you remember that? They remember. Why? Because your words meant something to them. You don't have to agree with someone to respect their mind. And there are people whose opinions simply carry more weight, not because they shout, not because they act like they know everything, but because when they speak, there is something behind the words. Maybe you've noticed this in your own life. People ask you, "What would you do?" What do you think? Do you think I'm making the right decision? And sometimes you wonder, why are you asking me? I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing. But they ask because they trust the way you see things. That's attractive. A person who can think for themselves without forcing everyone else to think the same way has a certain pull. And this connects beautifully with Carl Jung's idea of becoming your own person, instead of simply becoming whatever other people expect you to be. There is something powerful about a person who has lived enough life to say, "This is what I believe, you don't have to agree, but this is where I stand." That kind of person is hard to forget. Number 3. People become unusually honest around you. Now this one is very interesting, Some people can talk to you for 5 minutes and suddenly they're telling you something they haven't told anybody else. You didn't ask. You weren't digging for information. It just came out. Maybe they tell you about something they regret. Maybe they admit they're scared about something. Maybe they tell you they're not as happy as they look. Maybe they tell you about a mistake they made 20 years ago, and you're sitting there thinking, why are you telling me all this? Because something about you makes people drop the act. And that's rare. We live in a world where everybody is trying to look okay. People post the good picture, the good meal, the good vacation, the good news. But behind closed doors, everybody has something they're dealing with. So when somebody feels comfortable enough to remove the mask around you, that's meaningful. Jung talked a lot about the different faces people show the world. We all have a public version of ourselves. The person we show at work, the person we show strangers, the person we show family. But sometimes when people feel genuinely safe with someone, they don't have to perform anymore. And if people regularly become more honest around you, you may have a type of attractiveness that has nothing to do with physical beauty. You make people feel safe enough to be real. And believe me, that's powerful. Number 4. You don't have to entertain people for them to enjoy being around you. This is one of my favorites, because some people think being attractive means you have to be funny all the time. You have to tell jokes, keep the conversation moving, make everybody laugh, keep everybody interested. No. Sometimes your greatest quality is simply that people don't feel tired around you. You can sit in the same room with somebody and say nothing for 5 minutes, and it doesn't feel awkward. You can drink your tea. They can look at their phone. You can look outside. Nobody is fighting the silence. That's comfortable. And comfort is underrated. Think about the people you genuinely enjoy being around. You probably don't need them to perform for you. They can be quiet. They can be tired. They can have a bad day. They don't need to walk into the room with a whole entertainment package. You just enjoy their presence. And if people can sit with you without needing constant entertainment, you may be more attractive than you think, because your presence is doing the work. You don't have to. Number 5. People notice your absence more than your arrival. Now this one is quiet, but powerful. You leave a room, and later someone says, "Where did you go?" You don't think much about it. Maybe you leave work for a few days, and somebody asks about you. Maybe you stop going to a place you normally visit, and someone notices. Maybe you don't call somebody for a while, and they say, "You've been quiet. Is everything okay?" That tells you something. Your presence had become part of their world. Sometimes you don't understand your value until you step away. You can be around people every day and think you're just another person. Then one day you don't show up, and suddenly people notice. That's not necessarily romantic attraction. It can be friendship, respect, affection, connection. But all of those things are forms of human attraction. People are drawn toward people who bring something meaningful into their lives. Maybe you bring peace. Maybe you bring good conversation. Maybe you make people feel understood. Maybe you simply make an ordinary day feel a little better. And when you're gone, they notice the difference. That is something worth appreciating. Number 6. People feel like they can be themselves around you. This is different from people telling you secrets. This is about freedom. Some people change completely depending on who they're around. They are careful. They watch every word. They are scared of being judged. But around you, they relax. They might laugh loudly. They might say something silly. They might admit they don't know something. They might disagree with you. They might even show you the side of themselves they normally hide. That's a sign that your energy is welcoming. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to tell someone, "You can be yourself around me." They just feel it. You don't make them feel like they're being examined. You don't make them feel like they have to impress you. You're not sitting there keeping score. You simply let people exist. And that can make you incredibly attractive, especially as we get older, because at some point, most people get tired of pretending. They don't want another person who makes them perform. They want somebody around whom they can finally breathe. Number 7. You have become more attractive as you've become more yourself. Now let's talk about something we don't discuss enough. Sometimes you become more attractive after you stop trying so hard to be attractive. Think about your younger years. Maybe you cared about what everybody thought. Maybe you wanted the right clothes, the right hairstyle, the right body, the right image. You were trying to become the version of yourself you thought people would like. Then life happened. You went through things. You learned things. You lost people. You made mistakes. You started understanding yourself. And somewhere along the way you stopped asking, "What will people think?" and started asking, "What actually makes me happy?" That's a big change, and people can feel it. There is something attractive about a person who has stopped fighting themselves. Maybe you have grey hair now. Maybe your face has changed. Maybe your body isn't what it was at 25. But perhaps your confidence is stronger, your patience is stronger, your sense of humor is better. You know what matters. You know what doesn't. You can walk away from nonsense. You can enjoy a quiet morning. You can say no without writing a 5-page explanation. That is attractive. Growing older doesn't automatically make you less attractive. Sometimes it removes the things that were hiding your real attractiveness. Number 8. People feel better about themselves after talking to you. This is the big one, and I want you to really think about it. How do people feel after spending time with you? Do they feel smaller? Or do they feel a little lighter? Do they feel judged or understood? Do they leave feeling exhausted? Or do they leave feeling like, "You know what? I needed that conversation." Because one of the strongest forms of attraction is this. People like who they become when they're around you. Read that again. Sometimes people aren't attracted to you simply because of how you look. They're attracted to how they feel about themselves when they're with you. Maybe you listen to them. Maybe you encourage them. Maybe you remind them that they're still capable of something. Maybe you make them laugh when they've had a terrible day. Maybe you don't treat them like they're old, useless, boring, or invisible. You see them. And being seen feels good. That's why some people become unforgettable. Not because they were the most beautiful person in the room, but because when you were around them, you felt like a better version of yourself. That's a different kind of beauty. And it doesn't disappear with age. It doesn't depend on a perfect body. It doesn't need expensive clothes. It doesn't need filters. It comes from the person you've become. So let's look at these 8 signs one more time. Number 1. People start copying little things you do. Number 2. People remember your opinion, even when they disagree. Number 3. People become unusually honest around you. Number 4. You don't have to entertain people for them to enjoy being around you. Number 5. People notice your absence more than your arrival. Number 6. People feel like they can truly be themselves around you. Number 7. You have become more attractive as you've become more yourself. Number 8. People feel better about themselves after talking to you. Now tell me something. Which one made you stop for a second? Don't give me the number you think sounds the best. Give me the one that made you say, that actually happens to me. Maybe it's number 3. Maybe people always tell you things they don't tell anybody else. Maybe it's number 5. Maybe you've noticed people asking where you are when you don't show up. Or maybe it's number 8. Maybe people call you when life gets heavy because somehow, after talking to you, they feel a little better. And if that's you, I hope you understand something. You may have spent too much time measuring your attractiveness with a mirror. The mirror only shows you your face. It doesn't show you your effect on people. It doesn't show you who feels safe around you. It doesn't show you who remembers your words. It doesn't show you who misses you when you're gone. It doesn't show you who became stronger because you encouraged them. And it certainly doesn't show you the person someone else sees when they look at you. So maybe today, don't look at yourself and ask, "Am I attractive?" Ask a better question. What happens to people when they are around me? Because that answer may tell you much more. And if you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe and stay with me. We're building this little corner of the internet around real life, human behavior, confidence, aging, relationships, and the things we don't always say out loud. And before you leave, I want you to comment just one thing. Which number are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8? And if you want, tell me what happened that made you choose it. I read those comments, and honestly, some of the best lessons here don't come from me. They come from you. So let's talk down there.